Your hands sweat. Your voice does that weird thing. You rehearse what you're gonna say, and when the moment comes, your brain just blanks. Standing next to a girl you like feels like standing on stage in front of 1,000 people, except somehow worse, because at least on stage you know what you're supposed to do. Here, you have no idea, and the more you try to act normal, the weirder you get. If this is you, listen up, because what you think is just nervousness is actually something way deeper, and understanding it might be the thing that finally gets you unstuck. But before we dive in, if you're enjoying this exploration of human behavior, consider subscribing to Mura Psychology for more insights into the psychology that shapes who you are. Here's what nobody tells you. That awkwardness you feel, it's not because you're broken or weird or destined to be alone. It's your brain trying to protect you from something it perceives as high stakes. And the stakes feel high because society has turned talking to girls into this massive performance where one wrong move means total humiliation. Research from the University of California found that social anxiety spikes in situations where people feel they're being evaluated. And when you're talking to a girl you're attracted to, your brain thinks you're being judged on everything: your looks, your words, your entire existence. No wonder you freeze. The first thing happening is you're stuck in your own head. While she's just existing, having a normal conversation, you're running a full internal commentary. Did that sound stupid? Is she bored? Does she think I'm weird? Should I have said something else? You're not present in the conversation. You're watching yourself have the conversation and critiquing every second of it. Psychologists call this self-focused attention, and it's the fastest way to kill any natural flow, because humans connect through presence, not performance. When you're split between being there and analyzing being there, you come across as stiff, unnatural, fake. She can feel it, not because you said something wrong, but because you're not actually with her. You're trapped in your skull having a panic attack. Here's the brutal part. The more you care about not being awkward, the more awkward you become. It's like trying not to think about a pink elephant. The effort itself creates the problem. You're so focused on seeming normal that you stop being normal. Your body language gets weird. Your tone gets forced. You laugh at things that aren't funny and miss things that are. And all of this happens because you've turned a simple human interaction into a test you're convinced you're failing. The second thing is, you've built girls into something they're not. You've put them on this pedestal where they're not just people, they're gatekeepers to your worth. If she likes you, you matter. If she doesn't, you're worthless. That's an insane amount of pressure to put on a random conversation, and your nervous system knows it, so it activates the same stress response it would if you were facing actual danger. Heart rate up, palms sweaty, mind racing. Except there's no danger, there's just a person. But your brain doesn't know the difference between social rejection and physical threat, so it treats both like survival situations. Research on attachment and self-esteem shows that people who base their worth on external validation, especially romantic validation, experience massive anxiety in dating situations. Because it's not just about whether she likes you, it's about whether you're fundamentally acceptable as a human being, and that's way too much weight for a casual conversation to carry. No wonder you can't relax. The third thing is, you probably have no idea what you're actually supposed to do. Movies and media show you this smooth, confident guy who always knows what to say. But that guy doesn't exist. He's a script written by someone who had time to think of the perfect line. Real conversations are messy. There are pauses, awkward moments, things that don't land, but you think you're supposed to be performing at script level. And when you inevitably don't, you think you failed. But here's the truth. She's not expecting perfection. She's just hoping you're a normal person who can hold a conversation without making it weird. And by trying so hard to be perfect, you make it weird. Think about how you talk to your friends. You joke, you mess up, you say dumb things and move on. Nobody's grading you. But the second it's a girl you're interested in, you turn into a robot trying to compute the optimal response to every sentence. That disconnect is what creates awkwardness. Not your personality, not your looks, the fact that you're treating her like an exam instead of a person. The fourth thing is fear of rejection amplified by inexperience. If you haven't talked to girls much, every interaction feels monumental. You don't have reference points. You don't know that most conversations go fine, that even when there's no romantic interest, it doesn't mean you did something wrong. You just don't have the data to calm your brain down, so it assumes the worst. One awkward pause, she hates you. One joke that doesn't land, you're doomed. One moment where you don't know what to say, proof you're hopeless. But people who've had more interactions know something you don't. Most of the time, nothing bad happens. She's probably not thinking about that weird thing you said. She's thinking about her own stuff, her day, her problems, her life. You're not the main character in her story. You're just a person she talked to. And that's actually good news, because it means the stakes are way lower than your brain is telling you they are. The fifth thing is you're probably overthinking what attraction even is. You think it's about saying the right things, being impressive, proving your value. But attraction isn't a logical process. It's not a checklist. People are drawn to others who make them feel comfortable, seen, engaged, and you can't do any of that when you're busy trying to perform. The guys who seem naturally good with girls aren't necessarily smoother or funnier or better looking. They're just not in their own heads. They're present. They're relaxed. They're treating the girl like a human being instead of a test they need to pass. Research on interpersonal attraction consistently shows that comfort and authenticity beat performance every time. People can sense when you're being real versus when you're trying to be something you're not. And real, even if it's awkward, is infinitely more attractive than polished but fake. Here's what this all adds up to. Your awkwardness isn't a character flaw. It's what happens when you care too much about the outcome and not enough about the actual person in front of you. You're so worried about being rejected that you reject yourself preemptively by never showing up as who you actually are. You perform a version of yourself that you think is acceptable, and that performance is what feels awkward because it's not you. So what do? First, stop treating every interaction like it determines your worth. It doesn't. You're going to have hundreds of conversations with hundreds of people in your life. Some will go great, some will be awkward. That's normal. Second, focus on being interested instead of interesting. Ask questions. Listen. Forget about impressing her and just try to figure out if you even like her. That shift alone takes so much pressure off. Third, accept that you're gonna be awkward sometimes. Everyone is. The difference between someone who seems confident and someone who seems nervous often isn't the presence of awkwardness. It's how they respond to it. Confident people laugh it off and keep going. Anxious people spiral and make it worse. And here's the real secret. Girls are just people. Sounds obvious, but you don't actually believe it. You've turned them into some mysterious other species that operates on rules you don't understand, but they're just humans with insecurities, awkward moments, and their own anxieties. She might be just as nervous as you are. She might be worried about how she's coming across. She might be overthinking everything she's saying too, but you're so trapped in your own head that you never consider that. The next time you feel that awkwardness rising, try this. Take a breath, remember she's just a person, and instead of trying to control the conversation, just let it happen. Say something real, even if it's awkward, even if it's not perfect, because real and awkward beats fake and smooth every single time. And the more you practice showing up as yourself, the less awkward it gets, not because you get better at performing, but because you stop performing altogether. If this hit home for you, know that you're not alone. Most guys go through this. The ones who seem natural now were probably just as awkward once. They just pushed through it enough times that their brain finally realized talking to girls isn't life or death. And if you're enjoying this exploration, please subscribe to Mira Psychology. We explore the psychology that makes you who you are. Remember, awkwardness around girls isn't about lacking some skill other guys have. It's about putting too much pressure on interactions that should just be normal human connection. Stop performing. Start being present. The awkwardness won't disappear overnight, but it will stop controlling you. And that's when things finally start to feel natural.